¿Qué tal? I'm Sierra LaFay. Welcome to my channel. So I actually got the request to do this video when I posted my experience being black in Spain, where I talk a little bit more about racism and my experience with that in Spain. So if you want to check out that video, I'll have it linked right here. But someone commented asking if I can make a video more about Black Barcelona, just basically the culture and community there is for black people. So I thought it'd be a pretty cool video to make. Unfortunately, I don't have too much information. There's only so much black Spain in general has, but I just kind of wanted to share with you what I've learned and what I've experienced when I was down there. So just to get an idea of actually how many black people are in Spain, the research that I can find was that there was about 4% of African immigrants. Personally, when I walked around the streets of Barcelona, I did see Africans at least every day, because a lot of them are out selling things and hustling, trying to make their money. And then if I did see someone else that was black but wasn't necessarily from Africa, they were most likely from France or they were from the UK. I don't think I've met, other than one time at my 2 years being in Spain, an African American. That is very rare, especially someone who lives there or studying there. You may see one just traveling. I met one girl who was black, who was from France when I lived in Barcelona, who lived there. That was it. I'm sorry, it's not really a black community in my opinion. I'm sure there may be some type of small community, but I didn't find it. And I don't know where you would look. Although there really isn't a community, it gives us the opportunity to create community with this Spanish. And also really helps you to understand that the world isn't just your skin color, it isn't just your culture. Not saying that it doesn't feel good to be around people who know your story, who've shared similar cultural experiences, because that always feels a lot better when you're in an environment that you are completely new to. But you also limit yourself for how much you can actually grow, because we learn a lot from other cultures, just like other cultures can learn a lot from us. And I feel like we limit ourselves if we just stick to what we always know and the people who know what we know. You learn so much more when you open up your world and allow other cultures to teach you things. And I feel like when I allow different people and different cultures, especially in Barcelona, because Barcelona is such an international city, I allow people to impart things into me, and I learned a lot of things from all different types of ways that people do things in order to create my own way of doing something that's best for me. And I feel like it's really helped me to become an even better person than I was previously to going to Barcelona. However, something else to note, being black going into Spain, is that you will be stared at heavily, and it's something that you should not take personally. It's really a cultural thing. Not saying that it's right, but you shouldn't snap back with an attitude, because I had a friend who did that. Like, she was pissed, but I had to keep reminding her, like, it's a culture thing. Like, I understand, like, in our country it's rude, but to them it's not rude. It's really a look of admiration. Being black in Spain, you will get stared at a lot, because it's something that a lot of people aren't used to seeing. And then especially if you're not in the touristy parts of Spain, like Barcelona, Madrid mainly, you're going to be stared at heavily, because a lot of people actually have never really seen black people before. So I say, don't take it personally. Just realize that that's going to be a part of your experience there. Also, being black in Spain, you're going to stick out like a sore thumb, because people will automatically assume you're not from there because you're black. Not saying that there aren't black people who have been born and raised in Spain. I have seen one, maybe two. You're going to automatically be looked at as a tourist. You're going to be more prone to getting pickpocketed. So you really want to make sure, that you're being very safe and careful with your things, especially with your cell phone. Do not put your cell phone at any time in your pocket or on the table while you're sitting eating in a public place. You're just asking for someone to take your phone if you do that, in my opinion. Also, something else that I noticed that was very interesting about being black in Spain is that the Spanish, and a lot of Europe in general, knows a lot about the US and about its history. Like, they know a lot of information. And I feel like us being in the US, like, our country's so big and we're so powerful, if you compare us to other parts of the world, I personally feel like we really just focus on learning about us, and how, if we learn about like other parts of the world, it's really about how they affected the US. But I feel like in Europe and in Spain, they learn a lot about the US. However, there's still a lot of ignorance on their part when it comes to African American history. I don't feel like that's really taught to them, and they really don't know or understand a lot about slavery and racism and how it's still something that we deal with to this day. Actually, last year I had a roommate from France. She was one of the best roommates ever. She's the sweetest thing, but she had read last year I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, and she was just in complete awe that that was the reality for many African Americans. Like, she had no idea. She had never learned about it before. I think she said she was like in tears reading the book because she just didn't understand how people could treat other people this way just based on their skin color. And I kind of talked to her about it, like, is this something that they teach you guys in school? And she was like, no, they don't. And I met one of her friends who's also from France, and she came to visit the US, and she said she went to the African American Museum in Washington, I think. But she said, like, she was in tears because she had never knew the history of African Americans and how much that we've had to endure. So yeah, if you're African American, end up in Spain, don't be surprised if you have to educate your peers on a little bit of African American history and maybe why you respond certain ways. Us being here, a lot of the times we kind of have to be ready to an extent of what to say when people are staring at you or looking at you some type of way, because we interpret that as racism. Because here, when someone of a different culture and a different race is staring at you, a lot of the times you get the impression that they think that they're better than you, so they're trying to let you know that through their stare. With that being said, and there not being a huge community for African Americans or just really Africans in general, no matter what country you're from, you're gonna have to be okay with being alone a lot more than what you're used to. Now, for someone like me who is a loner, a professional loner, I actually enjoyed a lot of the alone time that I got. But even with me and my love of being lonely, there was some times that I was like, man, I'm really lonely right now. You're far from all your family, your friends, your culture, and people you can even meet to help you relate to your culture. But it does give you some time to really figure out who you are, separate from all those other distractions, which I feel like at the end of the day everyone needs at some point. Take that time and use that as an advantage to really learn yourself. And if you're looking for something to do, you might not be able to do it with your culture of people, but you're gonna find a whole bunch of Spaniards and Europeans who are eager to party and to be social and active. Like, to me, they really spend their time in life enjoying life. They really do. And if you just Google, literally just Google events in Barcelona, events, festivals in Madrid, you will see everything. There's something literally goes on every week or every other week that are usually always almost free, and the events are always really enjoyable. And then even if you don't have an event that weekend, there's always going to be someone who's going to invite you over to their house to have a couple tapas, drink some wine, talk for a few hours, or go to a club, which they love to do. They club literally from midnight until 6 a.m. And don't look at being black in Barcelona as you're going to be miserable, you're going to be a loner. You're going to have some really, really great fun times. You're going to learn a lot about yourself, and you're going to become a better version of yourself because you have now allowed other cultures and other people to impart certain things in your life that you can take away in order to help make you the best you possible. And then last, I always get this question, and I always kind of answer it in the description box or the comment section for you guys, but I always get asked, where do I get my hair done in Spain? In my opinion, it was very hard to find a place. Didn't really find a place. I lucked out when I lived in Madrid. I was there already a few months, and I was getting desperate because I was like, I really need my hair done. Really don't know how to do my hair all that well myself. And I lived in an area called Legazpi, and there was a lot of Dominican salons. So finally one day I said, I'm just gonna go in there and see if they do sew-ins and how much they charge. I went in there, couldn't really speak, oh gosh, Dominican Spanish. I don't understand it. I think it's a really cool language dialect that you guys got going on, but I could not understand a lick of it. Anyway, I go in there, try to talk to the lady about the sewing. We didn't understand each other. There was a girl who was she was black. She was from, I think she was from England, and she was translating for us. And then she was like, wait, you want to sew in? I was like, yeah. She was like, I do sew-ins. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, how much do you charge? She was like 70 euros or 60 euros, something like that. My head was like, whoa, that's it? She did it. She did an amazing job. And I just kept going to her like every couple months to get my sewing done. Fortunately, she does not live in Madrid anymore. Otherwise, I would refer you guys to her. But there are a lot of Dominican salons in Legazpi. And if you want to get some weave, some braiding hair, beauty supply stores, they're all in this area called Embajadores. And basically you just get off the metro and you start walking around, you'll just see shop after shop after shop. And then same with Legazpi, you just kind of walk, you'll begin to see a lot of Dominican hair salon. I also want to say in the area Cuatro Caminos, it's a very ethnic neighborhood too. I want to say it's a lot of Dominicans over there. We can probably find more hair salons and some beauty supplies. And then for Barcelona, my friend and her mom found this one place that's like a beauty supply, but they sell a little bit more high-end products. But then upstairs they have a hair salon that looks like Dominicans do the hair. And when they came out, their hair looked really, really good. So I'll have that on the screen somewhere, like the address and stuff, and also down below. There was a place called Pearl Cosmetics. Cannot remember the neighborhood off the top of my head, but they have like a beauty supply store. I'm really picky when it comes to people who straighten my hair, because I felt like when my friend and her mom got their hair done, they have really beautiful, healthy, seems like it's a little bit more easily to manage curly hair. My hair is all different types of curl patterns and heat train. I don't want people to really mess with my hair like that unless you're just gonna put a sew-in or some braids in it. So that's kind of how I learned to really do my hair myself. So I think being black in Spain does force you to actually learn how to care for your hair to some extent. But the black girl who was from France that I met in Barcelona, she had dreads, and I asked her where did she get her hair done, and she told me that she still hasn't found a place in Barcelona, that she always just goes back to France. So I feel like in France there will be a lot of places for blacks to get their hair done, because there's a lot of people of African descent who live there. And honestly, the trip from like Spain to France, you can get some cheap tickets, $35 to $50. It may be worth it to take the trip over there just to get your hair done. That's something me and my mom talked about. She was like, you should just go down there and see if someone can do your hair. And I was just like, I'll just learn to do it myself and save the little extra dollars to do something else with, like go shopping. But yeah, that was a little bit more about my experience being black in Spain. That was a great question, by the way. If you have any more questions about studying abroad, living abroad in Spain, please let me know in the comment section below. Or if you just have any questions in general about even my heat trained hair, I'd love to know. And until the next time, assalamu alaikum.
I want to thank me for doing all this hard work.